Your wife is shit.
It's like the very first thing on there. All right. This is Acceptable Vices for Friday, December 16th, 2016. Tonight, comics. Hey everyone, this is Acceptable Vices. I'm your happy host, Victor Frost, and tonight we're going to be talking about comics, be it print, online, or somewhere in between. Tonight on the show, we've got our Comics Meister, the guru of the printed page. He is Marvel Universe's worst enemy. It's Scott Johnson.
By the hoary hosts of Hogarth! Or Hogarth? I don't even know. I was looking at this list of Doctor Strange lines, and I'm like, which one can I pronounce here? And I'm like, ooh. I guess I could have done the Eye of Agamotto, but I thought that was too easy.
For the listeners out there who don't tune into the live stream and watch it afterwards, which are post-stream numbers of people going to go and watch the live stream had been actually increasing. Scott Johnson is decked out in lots of Doctor Strange stuff. He's got the cape. He's got a Doctor Strange shirt. Pretty legit.
I guess you could call it that.
He's got a beard too, but it's a regular Scott Johnson beard, not a
I should go with beard. I should go with the Doctor Strange look, right? I mean, I could pull that off.
Yeah, why not, right? We also got Churba. Hey, Churbs.
Hey.
Hey.
Hi.
Yes. The news calls odd hours.
Mm-hmm. So, gentlemen, comics.
I wasn't aware we had any comics here.
All right. I think, well, Churba, you did comedy once, didn't you?
More than once, in fact.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, we're talking comics tonight because it's fun and we all read comics. Skojo, you who are the bane to the Marvel Unlimited, possibly the person who's gotten the most out of it than anyone else on the planet, since you've read like everything, right?
Oh no, I've not read everything. What do you think I do? Not have a job? Like, geez. No. I try to read. Everything that comes out in a particular week, like 6 months after the fact. Which you can do on Marvel Unlimited. It's a pretty nice service. Actually, they're adding a bunch of like horrific '90s comics at this point.
Oh yeah.
As well as their new stuff, where you're like, oh man, like they just added a whole bunch of Ghost Rider. What else did they just put this week? Oh, X-Men 2099. They just added.
Oh god.
Right? That's some quality stuff right there.
Man, like 90s Ghost Rider was some dark times, man.
Yeah.
I remember like it was some dude who I'm not entirely sure if he was or was not Johnny Blaze. I think it was some other dude with like this weird motorbike and dead children, and one of his weapons was like a Hellfire shotgun or something. And he'd like stab demons open and then shoot them with the shotgun from the inside.
Well, I guess that's one way to do it.
You know, speaking of Ghost Rider and Marvel, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is actually really good this season, the fourth season. They're doing like a Ghost Rider arc, but they're using it's not Johnny Blaze, it's Robbie Reyes, and he doesn't have a motorcycle. He has a hot rod.
Huh.
It's a little bit easier to like a burning motorcycle is probably harder to pull off than a cool car
that shoots flames.
Yeah. Though, you know what? Now that I think about it, the car hasn't really shot a lot of flames. It just kind of regenerates. But they pulled him off. It's probably the best film or TV version of Ghost Rider, but that's not a really definitive statement.
But what about the Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider? That was great.
Sure.
Well, the first movie was all right anyhow.
Yeah,
the second
no, it's true. I like a little Cage.
Yeah. I've been rereading Manly Guys Doing Manly Things. That's a great comic.
Oh yeah,
You guys read it?
What's it about, Victor?
Oh, okay. Well, you know all the big burly guys from video games and movies and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
You could probably imagine they're not the most well-adjusted folk. So naturally, once they're done doing the things they do in their various franchises, there has to be a way to make them productive, contributing members of society, you know? So there's basically an agency where all of these big dudes get placed in jobs and get help adjusting. The website is The Punchline is Machismo. And it is a solid, good comic. Yeah.
Who's putting it out?
A guy named Koala Squid. I'm sorry, Kelly Turnbull. There you go, Kelly Turnbull.
Is it like an Image comic, or is it online, or?
No, it's online. It's just like a standard comic, and most of it is pretty, standalone. Like any given instance of any given issue of it, I guess. It's a web comic, is pretty standalone, but there are like arcs that take place. Like there was one time where there was some sort of they were infected with a sort of virus that made them all look like Final Fantasy characters. So the guy who runs the placement agency, his name is Commander Badass, has to go and get that fixed.
I see.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty funny, and you'll have like today, like the most recent one has God, what the hell's his name? I'm not a big. He's the bad guy from Legend of Zelda. I can't remember his name.
Ganondorf.
Thank you,
Ganondorf.
Because I've never played through a Zelda game in my life.
Well, that's your fault.
So
yeah, what's wrong with you?
I've never really had to. Never really wanted to.
You were never assigned it in high school or whatever. Like,
well, you know what? Like, I grew up with Sega consoles, so like I never had to go play a Zelda game. I had other games to play.
I guess we can't all be perfect.
Trevor, what you reading?
At the moment?
Yeah.
Everything.
Okay. maybe you'd like to narrow that down a bit there.
I feel like Churba and I both have this problem where we read too many comics and they all kind of blend together. So it's like when you're put on the spot, like, what are you reading? I'm like, oh God, what am I reading?
What aren't I reading?
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm literally just scrolling my list, and I'll pick something that I remember is good. Let's see. Jitsu wa Watashi wa is pretty good, which is proper title should be Actually I'm ... At least I think it is. I mean, translation is not exactly my best skill.
What was it called in Japanese again?
I'll just link you. Hold on.
Thank you, please. That's it.
But anyway, there is a chap who cannot lie because he is awful at it. It's not anything special.
It's not like Jim Carrey and Liar Liar.
Apparently it is released as My Monster Secret by Seven Seas Entertainment.
That cover looks pretty
oh yeah, the art is dope.
So it's not like a special ability that he can't lie.
No, he's just shit at lying.
He's just shit at lying.
Then he's rolling home after school one day, and he finds out a secret that this chick he has a crush on is actually a vampire. Can he actually keep the secret? Spoilers, no. Spoilers, neither can anyone else.
Genres: comedy, drama, harem, romance. School life shonen, slice of life supernatural.
It is the dumbest thing. It is so dumb, but it is also so good. And the guy who writes and draws this does the best faces. Like, it is actually pretty sweet as well. But
okay, I just clicked volume one.
Dumb as fuck.
I just clicked into chapter 151, and the face of the character right there, like it's just in the first panel, is kind of amazing.
Oh, it gets better.
Like, and then just like I don't know what that is. Is that like a stomach growl that just says potato?
Potato.
Yes, that is a stomach growl that says potato.
I think that's one of the best ways to display visually a craving. I think it's actually pretty clever.
I feel like eating sweet potatoes.
That's actually pretty good. So is because this seems like my sort of thing, because I love slice of life, shitty comics. This is great.
It is just like, it's not shitty. It is really, really good, but it is still just like really goofy slice of life, like weird supernatural comedy.
Nice. Huh.
Oh,
so
I
if you had to go ahead, Scotia.
You can go. No, go. You're still on. The top.
If you had to compare it to a more popular like manga or anime, what would you compare it to? Like, is it more like K-On! Or Nichiju, or what are we looking at here?
I honestly can't say I've read anything that's particularly like it. It is genuinely something new. I mean, it's not like it's not like you're looking at something like, say, Camphor, where it's standard boy gets turned into magical girl, kind of, and has to fight things fair.
Yeah,
only in high school, and it's not random kid gets magical powers because he's the best that ever was at some particular thing that is somehow incredibly relevant to some mystical powers forced to take over the fucking world.
Yeah. I'm reading a slice of life manga right now. I think they stopped putting them out, but I'm still kind of catching up to it. It's called Centaur's Worries.
Oh yes, that is a good one. I read that one too. Because I read everything.
So it's there are how do I put this? Monster people, right? Like human monster hybrid, and what you end up with is like, or rather, human animal hybrid people. And a lot of times in manga, this is treated in like a very hentai sort of way. So when someone recommended this comic to me,
I like how you're dancing around the fact that it is just an incredibly popular category of porn.
It really is. So when someone recommended this to me, I was kind of like iffy about it. Like, I don't know. They're like, no, trust me, this is for you. I started reading it, and it's like an entire world of human animal hybrid people, but it's just their daily lives, and look into like the weird ass concessions that have to be made on like a regular basis to account for the fact that these people have dramatically different anatomies. Like there's one issue where they do an exchange to a school that's just it's a school life, slice of life sort of thing. They the main characters make an exchange to a school that's just like mermaids, so all the hallways are filled with water, but like up to like waist level. So it's pretty funny, and it's entirely harmless. Yeah.
So I'm reading a slice of life comic right now. I'm about halfway through it. I'm just got distracted off of it, but it's Our Expanding Universe by Alex Robinson. He's known for doing like Box Office Poison and a bunch of other like kind of look at a certain age of their lives and all the anxiety and stress of that time period. But Our Expanding Universe is all about a bunch of guys, or like 3 friends in their 30s, like at different points in their life. One is like already a parent expecting a second kid. One is like just found out that his wife's pregnant, and the other guy is like a single dude. And it kind of like goes through trying to like how these guys are trying to like keep their friendship together, but also the stress of being in your 30s and kind of being in different positions in life, and how that like causes stress. And it really works for me because, you know, I'm in my 30s.
A little bit on the nose right there, huh?
Yeah, right. But it's really good. I recommend it.
But what is it like? What's the key, like, what's the key, like, attracting figure of that to you, apart from the people in 30s? But like, is it? Well, I mean, what's it like especially good at?
It's all about like the difficulties of holding like your like long-term friendships together as you drift apart in just life, like your journey. You know, like the guy with one kid already is having trouble, like cannot put up with the dude who's like single and still kind of like just doing whatever he wants, not like being real empathetic of the fact that he has a kid, you know, like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, it gets tough because your priorities change, and some people don't change as much as other people do. So that can eventually lead to rifts. So it's just kind of a interesting look.
Do you prefer to read comics that are in TV terms episodic, or ones that have like a long arcing narrative?
I think I just like good stories, so I mean, obviously, I prefer when it's good when they grab you like that, but then you have the stress of like, oh, look, this has like 600 volumes.
Oh, man.
I'm not sure I can actually legitimately say that I like good stories. I mean, I do. Most of the comics, most of the comics I read are fucking idiotic nonsense.
Well, I mean, I agree.
But you basically own that one thread in the forum that's like, convince me to read a comic with one page.
Oh yeah, me and our good friend Jay Vance.
Yeah.
Fucking Jesus. Like, have you ever read this comic called Fuka? It's by Seo Kikuchi, I think it is. I'd have to look it up, actually. But anyway, everyone who reads manga anyway knows who Seo is usually. So, yeah. But anyway, he's got a comic called Fuka, and it's a follow-on to one of his previous comics. And I'm going to spoil the shit out of it because it's like even spoiling it cannot take away from the insanity of actually reading it on the page.
Art. I love the cover art. Holy crap!
Oh, the cover art's real nice, and the interior art's pretty good too. But basically, we've got a guy who's an introvert but kind of likes music. Ends up starting a band with this girl called Fuka, who's the who's the daughter of the 2 main characters of his last manga. And they form a band and they get along, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, before the big performance, Fuka is hit by a truck and fucking dies.
Wow! That's not amazing.
That's not even the end. He goes on from there. He's a bit depressed, and they're a bit like, "Oh yeah, you know, things are okay. We'll continue the band anyway." And then he meets a new girl, who's also named Fuka.
Oh my god!
And it turns out that she's the daughter of the guy who was driving the truck.
Okay.
Like, we've just had a chapter where he's like all confused about things, and he's trying to write some new songs, and he's running around, and guess who he bumps into?
Another girl named Fuka?
Oh no, not another. First one.
Wait, what?
I haven't read the last chapter yet, the latest chapter yet, but I'm just like, okay, it is unclear if this is a hallucination or if she is not really dead or what is going on. But I want to get off Mr. Seo's wild ride.
Oh, jeez, crazy. Oh man. I want to recommend a really interesting comic that I've been reading for a while. It's called Super Villainous. The art is not fantastic. It's actually, the art is actually kind of bad, but
well, you can't have it all.
Story, no, but the idea behind the comic and the story behind it is that there's this supervillain named the Crimson Claw, and he's trying to do his normal supervillainy stuff, but at the same time he has to raise his two kids.
So basically, it's Despicable Me, but not detestable garbage.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's actually, that's it. You perfectly summed it up. And he's actually committed to being a villain. He doesn't become a hero. And his kids are just totally cool with him, their dad being a villain. And PTA is really fun.
Wouldn't you be?
To watch happen. Yeah.
Let's see.
Jojo, how's Squirrel Girl?
Squirrel Girl?
It's good.
It's good. Yeah. I mean, it's everything you want in a comic about a
girl with the relative power of a squirrel.
Yeah, relative power of a squirrel who's getting her degree in computer science.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. How'd she get her powers anyways?
I
don't
think...
a radioactive squirrel.
Pretty sure she was. Yeah. I'm also before I even talk about Marvel stuff, the other non-Marvel comic that I'm getting, I just got the second volume of, is Paper Girls by Brian K. Vaughan.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a it kind of feels like, well, it takes place in the 80s, and it's about a gang of paper girls that get kind of like sucked into an altered dimension. It's kind of like a Stranger Things before Stranger Things came out. Sorry,
just out of curiosity, I'm unfamiliar with the term paper girls. What is that?
Like, Paperboy?
Oh, okay. So okay. I thought it was like some other term. All right, cool. Got it.
You thought it was that they're made out of paper, didn't you?
A little bit. Just a little bit. Or maybe they were like journalists. I don't know.
Okay.
So what happens? They get sucked into an alternate dimension and... Did I lose connection?
No. Your connection's fine. Scott's just attending to some other matters for a moment.
No, sorry.
Okay.
I have a parenting thing going on. Hold on a second.
No, that's cool.
Keep talking.
Right. It's just so what happens? They get
I have no idea. He's the one telling you about the book, not me.
That's what I was telling. That's why I'm waiting for him.
You've got the wrong Scott, man.
I was talking to him.
You want to talk about fucking real stuff though? Superior Spider-Man was pretty good. And especially relevant for this podcast, because this podcast has like multiple Superior Scotts.
Superior.
Oh, I really enjoyed the Superior Spider-Man run. That's where Doc Ock is dying, and he does this like crazy scheme. Actually, I didn't read the story that comes before Superior Spider-Man, which is how he gets stuck in Spider-Man's body. But pretty much he supplants himself into Peter Parker and becomes the Superior Spider-Man. And over a course of a bunch of issues, he learns that he is not the Superior Spider-Man.
He learns a valuable
Yeah.
lesson.
But the cool part is, like, he's just like crazy, mad scientist. So he like actually uses all this technology that he has to like make being Spider-Man like way easier than like Parker ever did. And and actually it's still it's still a big influence on the comic today. That year or two run by Dan Slott, and Dan Slott's still writing Spider-Man too. But it's actually a really good. It's actually a pretty good storyline. Spider-Man's been real. I'm not usually a big Spider-Man fan, but I'm really been enjoying what they've been doing with Spider-Man lately. They really expanded his world when they did this crossover event called Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah,
and it includes like a million Spider-Men from every dimension. Like there's these guys going around killing all the people who have Spider-Man powers. And like they're literally going into like the Hostess commercials from the 70s, like the Hostess, like Spider-Man on the page and like killing the Spider-Man in the Hostess commercials to feed on him.
Sounds a lot like Deadpool went to kill all the Deadpools.
Yeah, and it includes the Spider-Man from the live-action Japanese TV show. So I mean, like it even has a Spider-Mech, you know, like it's got.
They've got Spider-Gwen, who was so popular. I think they actually gave her own book.
Yeah, there's a lot of ongoing Spider series of different people. Like, yeah, there's Silk currently, who's like one of the one of the other students that was in the class that Peter Parker was in when he got bit. She got bit like right after him, and then she had to get locked away in this like vault for like 18 years or something.
Damn.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. It's all
around.
It's pretty much like they find out that the creature that causes the whole Spider-Verse thing like will pretty much figure out where she is and kill her and then like destroy all the web of the worlds. It's crazy. It's a crazy story. You know, I gotta tell you, like Marvel is doing pretty good at doing these like stories where if you explain them out loud, they are ridiculous. But when you read them, they work really well. Like the whole
somehow all makes sense.
Yeah, like the whole new X-Men where they pretty much like Beast goes back in time and brings forward the old X-Men or like the original like X-Men to the future to see how to try to show like Cyclops where he went wrong. And you're like, this sounds crazy, but it actually works.
Okay. The Spider-Men who at least we know were killed include Spider-Man 1602, which is a Spider-Man from 1602, which means that somehow he was bitten by a radioactive spider before we discovered how to make radioactive spiders. Actually, we have still not discovered this, I should note.
Well, we know how to make radioactive spiders, just not ones that live very long.
Fair. Fantastic Spider-Man, the Spider-Man from the House of M, the Civil War Iron Spider, Armored Spider-Man. I can't even remember what that dude looks like. God damn. But anyway, what the fuck is that? Alternate AI Apec? I have no idea what that is, but he's some sort of spider bro. Spider Monster, which is a dude who got bitten by a radioactive spider, and instead of turning into Spider-Man, he turned into Man Spider.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. It's like, damn it, we got in the wrong order.
Alternate Spider-Friends Spider-Man. Also, if Spider-Friends is the thing, I didn't know about it, and I wish I did. There's Spider-Cat.
You know what's really great? They go to all these like Spider-Man universes, and the one is the '60s version of Spider-Man, and like everything they try to do to like take the villains down, they just can't kill them because it's like not a violent cartoon.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, there's apparently fucking this dude called Spider Moon Man who is fucking Peter Parker, who got bitten by a radioactive spider and works for the Bugle and all that shit, except it's all set in, like, the first moon colony.
They've done a lot of Spider-Man.
They have. They also managed to kill off multiple Spider-Women in this. There's 6-armed Spider-Man, which is basically just Spider-Man, but with 6 arms, and the art is hilarious.
Wait, how does he manage to stay incognito?
I would assume he has to stay in his outfit.
Have you ever read a webcomic called Spinneret?
No.
It is a similar thing. Woman gets spider powers through genetic manipulation of a spider, and things happen. But she gets the whole six arms thing going on, and even though she is like let's just say she has your most typical superhero power, as it were, of being incredibly thin, busty, and pretty. She spends most of her time in her civilian identity, like wrapped up in a latex rubber suit that makes her look a bit chubby, and she folds her arms up inside of the suit.
Awesome.
And it helps with her disguise because nobody would expect that the chubby lab assistant is actually the super trim Spinneret.
Well, I'm going to be reading this now.
It's a really good webcomic, and it is not as male-gazy as my description made it sound, because I'm not good at describing things when I've had this little sleep.
So Victor, on the six-armed Spider-Man, that's actually a Spider-Man story from the 70s.
Wow.
Where Spider-Man realizes that he has to stop being Spider-Man, so he makes a chemical cocktail intended to terminate his spider powers.
But it only makes it worse.
Yeah, it screwed him up. It increased his spider powers instead of nullifying them. And so Spider-Verse...
Well, fuck.
I'm not sure how having more arms increases your spider powers as much as hinders them, because you've got six arms to keep track of.
Wait. Oh, wait, no, the legs would count too. Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Not as arms, they wouldn't.
Well,
no, but what I'm saying is that, wait, my initial thought was, wait a minute, why shouldn't he have four sets of arms? And like, no, wait, legs would count. So.
Well, it depends on what you consider legs and arms. I mean, spiders have legs, but their front two legs are also their primary manipulating digits. So are they legs or arms?
Should a dog wear pants around his torso or around or in the middle of its body? You know, it's just like...
Middle of his body, you fucking heathen. What kind of maniac are you?
It's just...
Why would you put pants around the bottom half of a dog? What kind of idiot would you have to be to do that? I mean, for starters, you'd have to tighten it so that the belt was right across its asshole. The dog's not going to keep that fucking thing on.
Yeah.
Oh, also, there's a Spider-Man who is literally a dinosaur.
They pretty much came up with.
Wait, then where is the man part? So where does the man part come into that?
Well, it doesn't. He's called Arachnosaur.
All that matters is whether they have the Spider-Man, the spider totem or whatever that's supposed to give him powers. Because this is like going off of a run of Spider-Man where they tried to say like his powers were really meant to be like some sort of like spider, like totem spirity thing that like people in each reality have, and that's where the Spider-Verse thing occurs, where because it's just like there is a Spider-Man or a Spider-Woman or a spider whatever, and wherever they're at, like there is a Spider-Man.
That's ridiculous. But okay,
I'm just kind of sad they didn't take the opportunity to like have a French Peter Parker who invented a new style of movement throughout the city as a sport and became famous as a result, and his name was Peter Parkour.
Oh.
See, I saw that joke coming. I could have stopped it, but
they had a Japanese. No. I mean, they had there was a Hong Kong Spider-Man, and then there was also an
Italian Spider-Man.
There was a British Spider-Man, and at the end of the whole event, the British Spider-Man's like reality was destroyed because they were going into like secret wars.
Oh yeah, Spider UK.
Yeah, he was like, "I'm sad."
Well, he's English.
Yeah, he's like, oh. In terms of old comics, I'm currently reading Annihilation, which was a cosmic event with like Star-Lord before Star-Lord was cool, and pretty much Star-Lord and Nova. It was Star-Lord, Nova, and like Drax the Destroyer, and like a couple other people before they were in their pretty much their modern version. And it's an event that's kind of funny because it's taking place during the original Civil War, but it's out in space, and they're like completely ignoring Earth because they're facing like this giant universe destroying threat that's like destroying all these like the Kree and the Skrulls. And the reason I went back to read it was somebody was talking about when Nova comes back after Annihilation's wrapped up, and he's like talking to Tony Stark, and Tony Stark's like, "Hey, where were you? We needed you for our fight. We had this big like civil war," and like Nova's like, "You guys suck." Like he just watched like billions of people die. Like the entire Nova Corps is like wiped out, and before the first issue of Annihilation, like all of Nova Prime, all that stuff you see in like Guardians of the Galaxy that get like beat up by the Accuser, like that whole world is literally blown apart by the Annihilation wave, and there are no more Novas anywhere. And actually, Ronan is a good guy in this. Like Ronan, because I mean, like, and he's like exile of the Kree Empire, and like it's pretty much like. It's just this like cool comic about like them just kind of retreating as like this wave of horrible insects. You know, insects are always a great like sci-fi villain, you know, insectoid races that could just like appear. And then you have like Thanos too, and it's just it's good fun, Marvel cosmic fun. And it's like pretty dark at that same time. Like you're just like, can these guys get out of here before, you know, like retreat this world before the Annihilation wave hits? Nope.
Oh,
Quasar was killed.
Well, that was the end of that one.
You're just like, oh, that guy's dead. Oh, there's that cosmic. Oh, and then like the plan of Annihilation Wave was to capture Galactus and Silver Surfer, and then use Galactus to harvest the cosmic power of planets. And you're just like, wow, okay, this is big.
Jeez.
How would you even capture Galactus? Are you just like lobbing out this big net? Are you like putting out a pile of planetoids, just like free snacks?
You use other ginormous cosmic beings to do your will.
Oh. What's that guy that the collector, right? Dude,
the collector? Well, yeah, he's somebody. Yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of crazy cosmic beings. I mean, you could see the drugs that the writers were doing when they were making in the 70s, when they were really like filling out Marvel Cosmic.
Oh man.
But yeah, it's pretty good. I recommend it. It's like if you really want like a good like kind of Starship Troopers, but with like, you know, Marvel Cosmic going on, Annihilation's a pretty good comic.
Do you read? Do you of you read Girl Genius?
Yes.
Nope.
In fact, here's a fun fact for you. My regular avatar is actually an old drawing by the colorist of Girl Genius from before Girl Genius existed.
Huh. Turbo, can you explain Girl Genius to the Scojo?
And our listeners?
And our listeners.
I probably can. Yes.
Would you please then?
Okay, so basically, Agatha Heterodyne is a lass who is, you know, works in a workshop in a sleepy little town, goes to university, all that sort of business. And then adventures happen, and it turns out she finds out that she is a thing called a Spark, which is basically a crazy super genius. Also, I just opened the webpage, and holy shit, this dude has Yu-Gi-Oh hair.
Yeah, I went there too, and I was like, whoa, this is some Yu-Gi-Oh action right there.
Yeah, no, that's neat.
Basically, not only does she find out that she is a Spark, she also finds out that she is the daughter of some of the most famous Sparks in the entire world. The very famous Heterodynes, who turned out to have ruled a large portion of the land, except they don't anymore. And also people are really terrified of them, including the current ruler of the land, who is a bit of a despotic dick. But,
yes,
you know, she also hangs out with his son, and the son of the other major power of the continent, the Storm King. And there's lots of adventures and crazy things built. It is a pretty good steampunk comic. You should go read it.
Yeah, and to say it's steampunk is a bit of an understatement. This is the steampunkiest comic I have ever read.
I could not tell by the like border design.
The abundance of, you mean you can tell by the abundance of gears?
Yeah. You know, the one negative from this comic, not having read it but just looking at the art, is I really do not like the way this person does faces.
Phil Foglio and what's her chops Foglio that I can't remember the name of?
Kaja and Phil Figlio.
Well, they're like doing the like comic strip facial art, but with like
it
really
varies.
super specific on everything else. No, I mean it's perfectly fine. I don't know, that kind of art drives me nuts a little bit.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, did you ever used to read Dragon magazine?
Yeah. Oh, well, not like regularly, but I just found all my Nintendo Power, Wizard magazines, and a few of my Dragon magazines.
Now you're
Well, if you go and flick through your old Dragon magazine, see if you can find a comic strip in there called "What's New with Phil and Dixie." Because you should actually recognize the art from Girl Genius there, because it's the same guy.
Oh, yeah, I didn't like that art either.
They also did
really?
did an expansion for Munchkin, which is pretty good.
That might also explain where I've seen this art.
Yeah, same thing.
I actually have 2 boxes of Shea Geeks that have sat on my shelf for years. They got played once, and it was garbage. Fucking, I'm not a fan of Steve Jackson games, it turns out.
Yeah. All right. One more comic each, and then we're done for the night, guys. Chirba.
What? What do you want from me?
You got one more comic you can recommend to people?
Probably.
All right.
Do you want me to just roll a dice?
Yeah, go ahead.
By the way, I'm currently sitting at 186 unread because I've been skipping a week. So, let's see, something that isn't too cheesecakey but is also actually good, and that I haven't recommended before.
I know, that's what's hard. I'm looking at the list of comics, and I'm like,
while you guys are looking.
Did I talk about it last time? I don't remember.
I'm going to recommend, if you haven't already read it or decided whether or not it's for you or not, I'm going to recommend Questionable Content by Jeff Jacques. I'm bad with French last name. Anyways,
he's Canadian, you maniac.
Yeah, it's Frenchy. Anyways, it is a good comic, I think, about the daily lives of a social circle in a sleepy town called Northampton in Massachusetts. There are robots, lots of robots. This is like a post-singularity sort of 2016. And I enjoyed it greatly.
Everyone's angsty all the time.
Yeah, kind of. Some people are very not angsty, and they get very frustrated by the level of angst. But it...
but Pint Size was already covered under robots.
I think Hannelore kind of doesn't deal with the level of angst either. She just doesn't deal with it. And the art style, this is one of those comics where if you saw the latest comic and compared it to the first one, they are so far apart. It is unfathomable that they could be created by the same person. But
he's done a Penny Arcade, has he? Where the art from the first strip and the latest strips are like so different from each other that you practically would not suggest they're the same artist.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is a 13-year-old comic, and it shows a increase in artistic skill over the 13 years for sure.
Well, one would hope, right?
Yeah. Well, unlike, say, for example, Control-Alt-Delete, which is...
Hey, man, there's not much improvement you can make when everything's copy and pasted.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not even kidding. Like, he did... No. You know how Penny Arcade does Maker Strip panels?
Yeah.
At PAX? Well, Tim Buckley at his knockoff PAX did a knockoff Maker Strip panel, which included, like... There is actual footage of him going into folders where it's like, oh, eyes, mouths, arms, hands, things like that, and just like grabbing bits and pieces and pasting them together.
And you know what? if you want to streamline and make creating comics the most efficient way possible, sure. But if you're not developing your art, I don't know. kind of takes the sincerity or the honesty out of it. Whatever. Not to be all pretentious and shit. But yeah, questionable content. That's my recommendation. If you haven't already read it, go back and start from the first one, and then just read all the way to the beginning.
Wow,
to the end.
That'll take a while for people who aren't crazy people and don't read it like 1,000 words a minute.
All right, Churba, have you got something?
I will say one thing in favor of questionable content. It's that Jeff's fucking coming up with fake shirts game is on point. Like, yeah. I like all of the shirts this guy makes for his characters. Like, Casual Friday Shark shirt was great.
Yeah.
Like a shark with its tail in one leg and a pair of trousers. Anyway. Fucking just a cute, fun one is Bird Cafe. Cute art, cute stuff, cute things occur. It is enjoyable. There's not much of it. So there. Basically, a salaryman gets lost in the woods and finds a cafe run by two bird sisters. And they are like half bird, half person, but they lean far more towards the bird end of the spectrum, insofar as having beaks and wings and dust baths. But yeah, and he meets the cast of characters who hangs around in that forest, which include a lot of other bird people, including one bird person who is like what is meant to be an incredibly attractive woman's body with just a fucking owl head.
They don't appear to have beaks, though. I'm looking at this, and they have the bird feet and the wings. I'm not seeing beaks, though.
The younger one has a beak. I'm not sure if the older one does. So I'm not looking at the comic right now, but yeah, what's her mouth that is always kind of diamond shaped? That's because it's actually her beak. They only draw in the beak when she's doing something like pecking at the floor or whatever.
Okay. Oh, cool. So it's a four panel comic sort of deal.
It switches between 4-panel and full page.
Mm-hmm.
But yes.
I'm going to probably read all of this today.
Well, you probably could read it all today. There's only like 14 or 15 chapters.
Yeah.
If I wanted to be really cruel, I'd recommend that you read Schlock Mercenary, which is a comic which has been going since like the year 2000 every single day without missing a day.
That's ridiculous.
It's astounding. Like, there's literally 16 books worth of comics that he's actually released.
Jesus.
It's nuts. Yeah, wow. The very first comic is Monday, June 12, 2000.
Wow.
Every single day since then, he has made a comic.
And the art quality has only gotten marginally better.
Well, I would say a bit more than marginally.
He's got shading going on.
He's got a hell of a lot more than shading going on, considering the first strips, no offense, Howard, looked like they were drawn in MS Paint.
Huh. Well, at any rate. Skojo, one more comic from you.
Yeah, I just got done reading the 12-issue run of Spidey, which is kind of a nice little series of... You were asking me whether I like one-shots or overarching plots. Like, Spidey's like 12 issues of just classic Spider-Man tales before he was, like, good, like, right after, his uncle died and he, like, actually took over as Spider-Man. So it's like, at the beginning, he's like, I'm the spectacular Spider-Man. Well, that's probably too much. Am I just Spider-Man? Nah, I'm just kind of Spidey right now. I'm like not quite, the hero that he wants to be. It's him starting out. He's not as good. It's really, really just a fun comic. It's just basic Spider-Man stories. done well with more of a modern, storytelling style, and a little bit of it has a little bit of the humor that the most recent Spider-Man TV show had, like the Spider-Man. What the hell is that called?
I think it's called
Ultimate. Yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man, where there's just like a really kind of nice like non sequitur humor going on, or like just kind of going to like, oh, my day's been crappy, and it'll show like him, like a single panel of him fighting like different villains and having like, crappy things happening to him or whatever. It's just like well done, light. It pretty much epitomizes what you'd want out of Spider-Man. Too bad it's only 12 issues, but because I was really, really enjoying it.
Oh. All right. Well, that's a bunch of comics and what we think of them. Just a kind of a light episode. Next week, if we do an episode at all, given its proximity to Christmas and people obviously having plans and stuff, we might just do a short episode. But if I were you, I wouldn't expect an episode next week.
Oh, I'll just do an episode with my dog.
Yeah, there you go. Churbo's going to do an episode with Mr. Darcy. There you go.
No, he's not.
All right. Well, if we don't see you for Christmas, then you guys, all you listeners out there, have a wonderful Christmas, happy holidays, whatever your festivity of choice is to be in these latter weeks of December. We hope you have a good one, and see you next time on Friday Night Party Line. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.